dog out here,
She
boy.
beat the hell out of them all the time.
Don't say that, no. But well, Sally was mean.
Yeah, but she said, didn't she take you back behind the sawmill, or what were you saying? Or did you take Dad behind the sawmill?
No, Daddy carried, one time, Daddy carried me out to the sawmill. He let me have it down to the planer mill, that Warsaw planer mill. That Saturday afternoon we was working and cleaning up the planer mill, and I wanted to go to that ball game. Man, this guy worked in the planer mill, man, he and I are big friends, you know. He's playing Lonnie Holyfield. Never forget, good baseball player too. And I liked him, boy, nice looking man. Good baseball player. And they were playing, Warsaw was playing Eastman Gardner, I believe it was. Eastman Gardner Lumber Company, or either Marathon Lumber Company. They had a lot of lumber companies, the biggest sawmill town in the world. See, and I wanted to be there, man. I wanted to see Lonnie play. And I kept on jawing back at Daddy, and I think, he let me have it. But now, very seldom he'd ever give you a spanking, but let me tell you, he let me have it that day.
They didn't give you spanking, and they beat the H out.
Oh, I know they did, but Daddy did, Papa did, but Mama now. You know, boy, she said, Frog, you jumped. You didn't mess around.
That was my mama too. Boy, my daddy never touched me or brother, but boy, Mama beat the H out of us. Didn't do business.
Back in those days,
That's all they need to do.
they would see you, but you didn't speak. That's it. You could not come up there and them talking. You go up there and three or four of them talking. You go up there and, Mama, I want this. Mama.
No way.
You know where you'd wind up? You'd be sitting over there on your fanny.
That's how it was when I was young.
Listen, I'm taking back when I was
think
young. I'm
that's
telling
the
you.
way- I think you should have. I still believe in that.
No, you're taking more.
I don't believe you should be there all that, but I still
But,
think
you
you have
sure.
instruction up for your parents to wait until they get through talking
Now,
about it,
listen,
and then see what they want.
I wasn't allowed to be in the same room the adults were talking. Like us right now, and like me and Missy, I wouldn't be allowed to be in the same room.
No.
Wouldn't be allowed to be in the
And
same room.
how in the world did they ever think you're going to learn anything? Now answer me that one question.
Now, wait, go. Aunt Minnie, she had this big home
Okay,
over there on 11th Avenue.
I'm talking about this baby right here.
I know.
She was sitting here with an adult. We're not saying a thing in the world that this child couldn't
I know.
understand.
That's how
But
our parents were raised.
That's exactly right. Right.
But that's all they knew. Now, you take, we'd go over there in the evenings, and of course, you didn't have refrigerators, you had an ice box. We'd go, Uncle Babe, he was night watchman up there at Eastman Gardner Little Mill, where the ice plant was, over the ice plant, and he was night watchman. We'd go up there with our wagon. Kearney would take us, we had a big wagon, we'd bring enough ice back for my family, his family, and our family. And we'd bring enough ice back, we didn't have to buy it, but we'd have to go about a mile and a half, and we'd pull that old wagon, man, it was a job. And we'd come, and we'd play, we'd get in one of their room back there, where they had two regular beds. They didn't have king size or anything like that, but the regular size bed. And of course the house was so big, and we'd get back in that room, way back in the back, and we'd play blindfold. And we'd blindfold one. Why we didn't get killed, I don't know. And you'd go up and you'd slap them, and they'd try to get you. And you couldn't see, and you'd jump from one bed to another, and now if they'd do that, you had trees can't. And if they catch you, so they'd let us have it. But you had to amuse yourself, and then we'd play out in the front. We had a lot of sand out in the front of their house. And we could, there's a little grocery store right next door. And Kearney and Ethel, I was pretty fast and pretty strong. I could handle both of them. We'd wrestle. And Mr. Anderson, he owned this grocery store. He was an old guy then with a goatee, a fine looking old gentleman. I thought he was old. I guess he was over 55, 60. And I thought he was about old. Yeah. But anyways, he'd get tickled because I could handle both of them. I could handle Ethel and Kearney. And she was a girl, but she was strong. But I could handle both of them.
Yeah, but how big were you, pal?
I wasn't big as that. Wasn't so big as that.
See, absolutely.
You were bigger than wet noodle.
I just had a lot of energy. I was just so full of energy, I guess.
Well, that fat man, you got a room?
5 bikinis. 5 bikinis.
Well, my daddy was a tall, slim fellow.
No, I can remember back in those days,
I remember
it was
my
tough old
dad
time.
was
It wasn't
like
easy.
that.
You didn't have nothing easy back in my time. No, nothing easy. You had a very few,
What you got?
very few millionaires or people that had money. Those that did, they came from up north down and owned those big sawmills and what have you, and made money in the sawmills and what have you. And used to, you'd see a automobile, and you'd run to the door. Where, if you'd hear it coming down the road, if a doctor would have maybe one of those old 8T models, and if you'd hear one, you'd run to the door. You'd say, that ought to, you'd call it, here comes a ought to be mine. It ought to be my car, you know. And we didn't ever know we'd own one, and we'd call it ought to be mine. And I know it's yeah, honest. You wouldn't see maybe one or two a week.
Let me ask you, you remember after World War II, Venetian blinds, which the big things?
Yeah.
Where were you living at then?
19 what?
Oh man, I was in Hattiesburg.
Who in Hattiesburg?
I was.
And did you have Venetian blinds in your home?
We had some
Where
put in.
did you get them from?
We bought them from lot furniture.
No, in Hattiesburg, honey. World War II, World War I. Now we was in Laurel. We didn't have Venetian blinds in Laurel.
No, we had shades.
We had shades.
Well, my father, he was the one after World War II. He opened up a place called the Lake Charles Venetian Blind Shop, and that was the only place in the South that made Venetian blinds.
Now, I think we had them in Hattiesburg, didn't we? I'm not sure. I'm not going to say.
I vaguely remember, but it
Seemed
seems
like-
to,
No, I was wondering if you
I
had-
know I wanted them in my living room. I know that. I remember they
We,
wanted them.
we still have some in my mother's attic. There's the old cards and the plastic
Yeah, that's
caps.
exactly what we had, yeah.
And there's twine somewhere all in the garage and all that
Yeah, that's one.
from the.
I believe we did. I think we just had it for the
We
living
got them
room.
from Lot Furniture Store.
Honey, the lot was in Laurel now,
Oh, you
and we
know
lived
that.
next door to Lot. That was when H.L. and Robert Mack and Charlie was little. Robert Mack was born when we lived next to Mr. Lot Furniture. No, the Quinters was living there. Lot had already moved. The Quinters had moved there. He was manager of Reliance Manufacturing Company in Hattiesburg, and he moved to Laurel. Now, we moved to Hattiesburg 1945. The World War II was going on. It wasn't over until, 40,
No, it went from December the 17th, 1941 to December the 7th, yeah, 41 to what, September the something, 45.
45.
because we moved to Hattiesburg, and I had all that business out at the, because the soldiers, Camp Chevy was there. That was one of the biggest places in the country at that time. And
Why don't you going back? We're going back.
and I had,
We should be good on my
and I would haul, I'd send a truck. I was with McDonald Motor Express at the time. I'd send a truck down to Gulfport, pick up beer was, everything was rationed. No gasoline, but I could get gasoline because we was in the trucking and I could get gasoline.
No aluminum bunkers, all wooden.
That's right. And I would send down there and pick up a load of, down here to Gulfport, of Biloxi, and pick up a load of this old cheap beer that this guy was selling, and a whole trailer load at a time. Now take it back to this guy out of New Orleans, came up there just running in this big old place. He had old pinball machines and all that kind of stuff, you know, and he sold that, of course you couldn't buy so many cases of premium beer, wheat is all you could get. And he would sell a whole trailer load to those soldiers, and I know those poor soldiers had the headache so bad drinking that stuff. And I did that, and of course I got paid for it, let me tell you, for doing it. I sat down there, and one time I came after a load myself. Well, you take Laurie, when you rear 4 children during Depression,